This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Well, joining us today is Mark Sale, the CEO of First Class Metals. Thank you very much for joining us today. Mark, how are you doing?
I'm good, and thank you for making the time to listen to me, Mark.
No problem. Of course, we want to catch up on some of the news this morning. That's, of course, from the Zigzag Lithium project there, where you've reported high-grade grab samples. Could you just talk us through exactly what this program, this latest bit of news is all about?
Certainly, Mark. Yeah, it was a program of, shall we say, systematic prospecting, in so much as that the guys worked their way along the outcrop area of the pegmatite, taking samples as they went. So it wasn't like all samples came from one outcrop or only along 10 meters.
Okay.
They covered over almost 400 meters of strike in this sampling, which is, quite important in that regard.
And this is grab sampling. Is it solely grab sampling? And that is basically people walking along the ground, picking up bits?
Yes, grab sampling, but of outcrop, not float sample. So actually, sticking out of the ground, shall we say. And one of the reasons that it's, shall we say, discontinuous is there's a lot of moss cover, vegetation cover, bushes, etc. I mean, it's almost virgin. Well, it is virgin forest. There was some work there in the 50s and a little bit at the turn of the century. But basically, it's pristine forest with very little disturbance. So it's hard to find the outcrop.
Right, okay. But this is, on outcrop. So this is effectively the pegmatite outcropping at surface.
Yes.
Okay. So just looking through the RNS then, looking at some of the results. So you've taken 39 samples from this first phase, and a significant number of them have returned over 1% lithium. So just talk us through how significant that is.
Well, I think it's very significant because it shows the core area of the property that, as I say, there's almost 400 meters from east to west of over 1% lithium oxide. So it's very significant in that regard. It's open in both directions. And of course, there's been just a frugal amount of drilling done it historically.
Mm-hmm. And also you've been doing channel sampling as well, haven't you? So this is basically where you're taking a channel cutter and effectively cutting across the outcropping pegmatite. Yes, that's exactly right. I mean, and these are far more, shall we say, industry acceptable type samples because it's got a dimension as opposed to just chipping something off an outcrop, which is a point sample. There was over nearly 80 samples, 60 meters, so they're averaging about a meter each. And again, they were restrained by the vegetation cover. The guys did a great job of hand stripping, peeling back the moss, etc. And one channel was over 18 meters. So there's a significant width to this pegmatite in places. I'm not saying that was all 18 meters was pegmatite because I told them to make sure they took the samples outside of the pegmatite into the host rock, shall we say. Okay. Were you there to witness this going on?
I was there when they started it, yes. I'm not for the whole program.
And what does it look like? Was it nice and white, or can you not really say anything until we've got an official RNS?
If I had to give a visual appraisal of the channel samplings, there was a lot of pale grey-green spodumene.
Right, okay. Well, you've got 80 samples there, so results still pending. These are going to be quite important when they do indeed come in. When are you expecting them?
I'm hoping they'll be, I'll say next month, November.
Okay. Fair enough. So then the last point from the RNS there, prospecting continues on the main trend and in sub-parallel zones. So what else is going on at the moment currently on site?
The guys have just finished this week on site. The snow's arrived, so that's the sort of cessation to prospecting type activities. They found some very interesting rocks in a sub-parallel trend to the south of the known pegmatite, and they also found some very pyritic material in a trend to the north of the pegmatite, which is in the more mafic rocks. So and what they did also, Mark, was they did some soil sampling lines
on the eastern and western end of the property to try and tie down where the pegmatite is there, where there isn't any outcrop.
Okay, I see. Well, I noticed from your comments you've described yourself as feeling buoyed up by the progress at Zigzag, and you say the grab samples have, I feel, proved up a core area of the known structure which remains open, as you said, in both directions and is yet to be explored at depth. So how are you feeling about this? I mean, it's pretty, I would say, fairly good early stage, isn't it? I mean, pegmatites outcropping at surface, once you've found them, you've really got to just follow them and try and work out exactly how much ore is possibly there.
The next stage for me is once we've signed the EEA, Early Exploration Agreement, with White Sands First Nations, we would go in there and do some stripping so we can make the outcrop more continuous, shall we say. And on the basis of the anticipated results from the channel sampling, that's going to give us a focus for a modest drill program.
A modest drill program, okay. And that would be looking to get started when?
I would like to think we would do that this season.
Right. Okay. So
and as I've explained to you, sorry, Mark, go.
So possibly 2 drill programs this season. I know we've discussed before.
Yes, as I say, as I've explained about the seasons before, we have the prospecting season, which is now all but finished in Ontario because of the snow. And then we have the drill season, which in the case of Zigzag might be an easier prospect in the winter when things are hard and frozen.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that update today, Mark Sales, CEO of First Class Metals.
Thank you, Mark. Take care.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.